US President Donald Trump has taken a series of decisions that have delivered body blows to the global management of health. He has announced that the US will leave the World Health Organization, and a 90-day freeze has been placed on money distributed by the US Agency for International Development, USAID or USAID, pending a review by the US State Department. This includes funds for the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. The decisions have triggered alarm in the global health sector. This decision has drawn uproar across Africa. Here's a report.
Ugandan LGBTQ+ rights activist Pius Kennedy is one of many humanitarian workers across the world who is effectively out of a job since US President Donald Trump shut down the government's main agency for delivering humanitarian aid to other countries. The Africa Queer Network non-profit, where he works, provides counseling for members of Uganda's LGBTQ community and receives most of its funding from the US Agency for International Development. USAID has been one of the agency's hardest hit as the new White House administration and Elon Musk's budget-cutting team target federal programs they say are wasteful or not aligned with the conservative agenda. Kennedy exclaimed that the going only got worse.
This one really matters.
I thought this was only going to deal with the US agencies, that is PEPFAR, CDC, USAID. But again, I went to find out that also some donors are now going to pull out resources because they were also receiving from the similar funding basket to sub-grant to us, the organizations this side. So if their funder has pulled out and is suspended, because the letter was specifying that all these grants have been suspended for 90 days.
Many Africans had known that Trump's America First outlook meant their continent was likely to be last among his priorities. But they hadn't expected the abrupt halt to foreign aid from the world's largest donor that stops money flowing for wide-ranging projects like disease response, girls' education, and free school lunches. Even after global outrage prompted some exemptions to Trump's order, sub-Saharan Africa could suffer more than any other region as most global aid pushes 90 days for a spending review. The US gave the region more than $6.5 billion in humanitarian assistance last year. For many in Africa, thoughts immediately turned to arguably the world's most successful foreign aid program, the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR. Over 2 decades, the program with bipartisan support has been credited with saving more than 25 million lives, the vast majority in Africa, the continent it was designed to help most.
This is about the rights of marginalized people. I do not have a doubt that this could be a reassessment of the international interests of the US, but at the core of this is about an anti-rights agenda. This is not about the economics of making countries such as South Africa and other African countries more independent. This is a direct attack on the humanity of LGBTQI people, of women, of girls, of children, and other marginalized groups.
Trump's global aid freeze continues to cause shockwaves across the African continent, and Ethiopian human rights organizations are sounding the alarm. Masoud Gebeyehu Reta, the executive director of the Ethiopian Human Rights Organizations and a member of the Ethiopian Civil Society Organizations, says hundreds of civil society and humanitarian organizations would be forced to close their life-saving work as a result. Reta says that Trump should not interfere with the American people's generosity towards their fellow humans in need.
This is a people money, and it is for the people. So it is how the American people want to support other communities globally as part of the global brotherhood. and it is not the derogative power of the executive. It is people's will, where they want to support people across the globe who are affected by conflict, who are affected by climate change, who are affected by disease, and whatsoever. So my wish is this decision would be reversed very soon.
The United States is by far the world's largest source of foreign assistance, although several European countries allocate a much bigger share of their budgets to aid. USAID funds projects in some 120 countries aimed at fighting epidemics, educating children and providing clean water, and supporting other areas of development. The Trump administration has warned contractors and staffers with USAID, the agency responsible for dispersing America's foreign aid. They could be disciplined if they speak to anyone outside the agency without top-level approval. And aid groups fear they may permanently lose funds if they speak publicly. Reports also say that at least 1.2 million people in Congo could lose life-saving support because of the aid freeze. Almost half of their organization funding is from USAID. Overall, more than $100 million for the organization's humanitarian programs in more than 30 countries worldwide have been halted. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.